Hey, welcome back to Dad Life Chess. This is Joel. Wow, it's been a while. I probably could spend the next 10 minutes giving you all of the excuses, but you did not come here for excuses why I have not posted a video. You are here because you want to know why I was forced out of retirement. Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. In all seriousness, life did get busy, but it's good to be back. I've had a few people ask me, hey, when are you going to post your next video? And so why not now? Just played in a tournament today actually, at the Clovis Chess Club September Quads. We started the Clovis Chess Club about a year and a half ago, and it's gone really, really well. So shout out to the Clovis Chess Club. If you are anywhere near the Central Valley, check us out, clovischessclub.com. Link will be in the description. We have really a lot of great tournaments and casual play. We have a really big tournament coming up on National Chess Day. I'm considering playing in it, just don't tell anybody. Yeah, so little backstory. Almost a year ago, played in a tournament, and as it would happen, I got my rating finally above 1700. Well, actually, it was incredible. It gave me 110 points in that one tournament, and my rating was exactly 1800. And you know how things go. Life was getting busy, so there's the excuse, but I was like, I got to protect this 1800 rating. I know, bad. Well, I was also running tournaments, and it's very difficult to play and run at the same time. Again, more and more excuses. So today, kind of a strange situation. I'm running the tournament. We're doing quads. In the top quad, one of the players, after round one, decided to withdraw from the tournament. Well, that makes it very difficult. Quads are run for people. They play each other's kind of like almost like a round robin in a way. But if you don't have that fourth player, every round going forward has a bye, and it just gets weird for pairing and such. So in order to allow the players to have a good time, I thought, well, I'll just jump in. I'll probably lose all my games, see what happens. So yeah, decided to play. My first round game was against Gary. Gary is a longtime member of the Central Valley Chess. He's been a member of the Clovis Chess Club since it started, pretty much, and he plays in pretty much all of our tournaments. He's a very seasoned player, and he likes to play very attacking, aggressive, tricky chess. So I was kind of expecting him to play d4. He did, and I played d5. I've seen him play c4 recently, and he plays it really well, but I almost cringed when I saw him touch his e-pawn and play e4. I thought, oh, not again. I cannot tell you how much I despise the Blackmar-Demir gambit. I mean, I know I play the London system and everybody hates the London system, but it is so hard for me to play against the Blackmar-Demir gambit. If you look at my stats, I have a very poor record and very poor results against this opening. It's just tricky. White theoretically is not winning, is down a pawn, but White has so much compensation. So I ended up taking the pawn. Boom. I decided I'm not going to play into this typical here. I'm not going to play into that line. So I decided to do something a little different this game. My opponent did play knight to c3. But before I played knight f6, I thought, well, let's give him an opportunity to transpose into the Caro-Kann. I haven't been playing the Caro-Kann recently. I kind of went back to the Scandinavian because it's just easy to play. Really, my chess in recent times has just been online blitz, maybe a rapid game here or there, some casual games or some rapid games at our chess club, but nothing serious. This is the first time since, I guess, October of last year that I sat down and played a longer game, anything longer than 10 minutes, really. So I was a little bit nervous, a little rusty, didn't want to get into theoretical complications. It would have been nice if my opponent just would have, like, done the logical thing, take the pawn, and get back into a Caro-Kann. He did not. After c6, he plays f3. He is determined to gambit this pawn. Now there's a threat. He can take now, and this, rather than then he has, if he takes here, he has the solid center and the half-open f-file. So I don't want that to happen. One of the reasons, and I know you're going to jump on here and say the black gear gambit is completely destroyed, and there's this 10 move line after 14 moves. White resigns and gives up chess forever. But I've not been able to stumble on that line, so I just don't know what it is. Send me the chess course. But one of the things I always seem to struggle with is like the knights jumping out here or the bishops out here. So I thought with a pawn on c6, we're stopping a lot of that. And I don't mind now getting my bishop out here. Now I know that, wait. I'm sorry. I went, what did I do? He went, hold on. Where are we at? Of all the things, totally messing up. Totally forgot. I just was like throwing moves in there. See? I'm rusty. I can't play chess. I can't record videos well. Should I just like start over? No, we press on. It's like chess, Just because you make a blunder doesn't mean you get to restart the game. That would be kind of nice. We're not going to resign. We're not going to hit resign and new game. We're going to press on. We're going to do a life lesson here. Yeah, bishop f5, that would be a blunder. Blunderuski because of this. And this bishop just is hanging out for no reason. But that's not what I did. So right here, I thought for a little bit, the standard way of playing is to take, okay? Play knight f6, you want to get your bishop out. And this is supposedly good for black. But knowing that my opponent is very good at tactics, very good at aggressive open positions, likes the bishop pair, likes the queens, I wanted to do something very practical, which I think, by the way, when you're playing chess, you got to find your style. And sometimes you're not just playing the board, you're playing against the person across the board. And so that being said, knowing Gary, knowing the way he plays, knowing that I've lost many games against Gary at the club because I just allowed too much counterplay or let the position get wild and wacky, I decided to play e5. Now, I would give this move an exclamation point, but Stockfish is like negatace. That is not a exclamation point. We're just going to give it a dubious. That's what Stockfish says. It says it's an inaccuracy. Well, I beg to differ, and the reason why is I'm playing against Gary. If I'm playing against Stockfish, I could just resign from the beginning of the game, but I'm playing a practical game, and I think there's benefit to that when you're playing against somebody that you know how they play. You're going to try to play to their weaknesses, play to your strengths. So yeah, that's where we're at. So Gary ended up taking in the center, and that's exactly what I wanted him to do. I wanted to exchange queens, get the queens off the board, play into an endgame, eliminate the counterplay, and I felt like I had the best chance of beating Gary in this kind of game. Now, of course, Stockfish says 0.00, just offer a draw, and no, we are not Stockfish. We are human beings that play inaccuracies, blunders, and mistakes, so we move on. Now, going back here, probably Gary's best decision to play into his style is to play bishop e3 here, keeping the tension, not allowing for the queen trades, and yeah, all in all, that's probably his best choice. But thankfully, for me, he took, and I was like, yes, this is good. He takes back with the knight. allowing himself to stay castled. And I thought, okay, I could play knight d7, attack the pawn. He'd probably play here. I was like, okay, this pawn's going to be weak. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to develop this bishop. I like the bishop out before blocking in the knight, maybe castling queenside. I can castle kingside possibly. My opponent, Gary, ended up playing knight c3. Oh, by the way, funny story. When we were playing this game, it was kind of a little bit chaotic. I'm getting all the rounds going, and when I sat down and I'm taking notation of the moves, after like 2 or 3 moves, I realized the board is switched around. So like if you played in a tournament, the boards have like numbers and letters to make it easier to write down your moves. I'm so rusty playing over the board. I was having a very difficult time writing down my moves. I kept missing it for white or black. I was like, what is going on here? But it's like when I play online, I don't have to write down my moves. Chess.com just, records it, and then I can go over it. Click, 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 click. But so anyway, he ended up playing knight c3. And at this point, I was like, oh, whoa, hey, I can now take. And he takes back. And I thought for a little bit, I was like double checking. I don't want to take a pawn and there'd be a mistake. I was playing in our club casual like rapid tournament that we play on our third Thursdays this week. It's unrated. It's a lot of fun. 10-minute games and such. And I was playing against a guy at our club, and I made like the most basic blunder you could ever make in a chess game. Like I don't know what I was thinking. I just don't know what I was thinking. Hey, this is free. This is free. I'm going to show you how bad that blunder was. And Ivan, if you're watching, this is for you, man. This is for you. So, this is okay. We're like kind of sidetrack a little bit. We're coming back to the game, I promise. But I just had this thought in my mind. I remembered how poorly things went. So I'm a little bit gun shy of taking pawns. So I was playing this last Thursday, 10-minute rapid game. Good old Scandi, boom. Life is good. I'm thinking, this is great. Hey, Ivan, I've had a pretty good record against you at this point in my life. Not this game. Humbling, for sure. He goes here. I go here. And he plays here. And I'm thinking to myself, what? I don't see this often. I see stuff like this. You can go here. I see bishop here. And then I have this line. And I think to myself, Ivan, you just blundered this pawn. By the way, if you're out there and your rating is like, you're just beginning in chess and you're like, man, these players, they're so high rated. They're perfect. They play really good chess, yada, yada, yada. I did that. I literally did that. Ivan looked at me like, what? Check. If you're following along, that is a discovered attack on my queen. Okay. And I'm in check. So I got to do something. And you're like, oh, simple. Bring your knight out, guard your queen and and get out of check. Easy enough, right? Now, if he would have been trolling me, he would have just taken the queen because now the knight is pinned, right? But Ivan's a nice guy. He takes, and instead of me just taking back, I brought my queen back here, and let's just say the game did not go in my way after that. So yeah, taking pawns can sometimes be dangerous. There is an actual phrase called a poisoned pawn. Where were we? So yes, Ivan, if you watched that, that was for you. Well played. He did not just beat me, he crushed me. He did not allow any counterplay. I tried to wiggle my way through, and I think I was pretty much dead in about move 20. So yeah, fun times. So yeah, going back to this game. We're back here. Let's just get through here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I take, and I think to myself, is this a free pawn? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's a calculation. Actually thought longer than 5 seconds. that's the benefit, and the problem with over the board longer games is you sometimes second guess yourself if you think too long. But I did. He took back here, and then I took, and I thought to myself, I'm up a free pawn, and I'm also up. And I mean, this pawn on the e file is weak, isolated, all alone. So some of you are still thinking, like, how in the world did that guy fall for like the most basic trap? That's like a Neil Bruce tactic extraordinaire. Okay, it happens. All right, it happens. We all have bad days. So my opponent played knight b4 and attacks my bishop. Speaking of being rusty and like, blitz is so bad for you. Blitz is so bad for you, but it's so much fun. Right when he moved here, I actually did not see that he was attacking my bishop. Like, it took a little while. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go here, attack his pawn. What can I do? Then I can castle. And before I moved, I thought, oh yeah, I got to do the whole checks, captures, threats things. And I was like, checks, no good checks, captures. I was like, oh, that's a thing. So yeah, dropped back. Thankfully, I didn't fall into that. My opponent plays e6. Again, this is very typical of Gary. He wants attacks. He wants open lines. He wants to push things forward. He wants counterplay. I'm obviously not going to take there. That would be, let's give that a double question mark, because this knight is going to be so annoying. Matter of fact, Stockfish just says, hey, you should probably resign here. Not really. He gives a number value, but basically that's what that means. So e6 is like, don't want to do that. I play bishop c5, attacking the knight. My opponent takes with check. I take back with the bishop. I thought about taking back with the king. Not, sometimes in the end game you can activate your king. Not necessary in this position. Also didn't want to see things like bishop coming out with check and then this knight's going somewhere. Again, and this is a great lesson. When you're up in chess, up material, winning position, you just want to keep things simple. Eliminate. I always tell my students, I tell them this. I say, if you're up material, trade down into a winning end game. Make it as simple as possible and remove counterplay. How many of us, myself included, I've lost countless games when, I'm winning and I press too hard or I get too fancy. No, just keep it simple. So that's my goal in this game. Although Gary is a little tricky. So I thought, what's going to happen? Gary ended up playing knight b3, attacking my bishop. I dropped my bishop back. I'm solid, trying to keep everything solid. He plays bishop d3. I play knight f6. He plays bishop f4. Coming after this knight, I think I'm just going to play knight d7, knight bd7. He castles queenside. Obviously, he can't castle kingside, can't castle into check, out of check, through check, around check, or something like that. Can't bounce a check or something. So I play castles. Now, if you remember, the rook can go past, can go through check because there's no rook check. Rook check, that kind of has a cool username. Somebody's taken it. Rook check, I can guarantee it. So my opponent plays rook h to e1. At this point, I thought to myself, because I was actually thinking before I castled, I was going to do this move, but I thought, what should we do? Now, again, Stockfish has his own opinions. Stockfish and I haven't really spent a lot of time together recently. But when you're going through your games, Stockfish likes to just tell you how poor you play. But at this point, I thought to myself, I'm going to, again, make a weakness and play a move that I think has practical winning chances against a guy like Gary, okay? So I take here. Now, giving up the bishop pair, probably a bad idea. Probably something that you're not supposed to do, especially when the position's open, yada, yada, yada. However, in this position, I'm like, okay, these two pawns are going to be weak. I have 3 pawns on this side. If I can get rid of the bishop pair on for him, if I can exchange one of his bishops, I'm feeling good. So I feel good about the practical chances. Now, of course, Stockfish says otherwise, says, the best move, if I don't find the best move here, it's almost kind of an equal game. So I played the rook h to e8, not the best move according to Stockfish. I guess probably Stockfish could draw this. Spoiler alert, Stockfish would beat any of us in this position, white or black. Seriously. So don't put too much stock in what, hey, don't put too much stock in what Stockfish says. This is Dad Life Chess, right? Dad jokes. Dad jokes. I actually heard a funny dad joke the other day. I'm really bad at remembering them. So if I ever remember, I'm telling you. Man, you thought I was going to say a dad joke. Okay. My opponent plays bishop f5. Again, great move. Keeping pressure. Pinning my knight to my king. I play here. Taking was an option. I play here, bishop c7. I want to give my king an opportunity to move. I was expecting my opponent to play bishop g5. However, my opponent actually picked up the bishop, and I noticed the bishop was moving. You know, if you're playing over the board, you can kind of, it's not like online chess. It's like, boom, the move appears. You can see them go towards the piece, and they touch the piece that you want them to move or not move. And then they're moving it, and you're like, oh, is it gonna? And I was expecting the bishop to come here, but I noticed and I was like, oh, he takes. At this point, now after the queens were exchanged, I felt good to at least give a fighting chance. This, I felt like at this point, I think I'm gonna win this game because he no longer has the bishop pair. Now we're getting really close to exchanging down to what I feel like as a winning king and pawn endgame. He plays b4, and again, counterplay. Gary is all about counterplay, I play a6, stopping that. Hey, Stockfish says that was a good move. Thank you, Stockfish. Appreciate it. Plays g4. Again, he's trying to knock my knight out. He's trying to cause as many problems. When this happens in a chess game, you need to try your best to, again, eliminate counterplay, reduce your opponent's chances of winning all of this stuff. You're going to get tired of me saying no counterplay, but it is what it is. I thought about playing h6, which is the most common. Like when you see this move coming, you're playing h6, but I thought maybe h4, and then he's going to get this move in, and I'm like, what's the idea here? So I actually said, I'm going to push here, thinking that now if he retreats his bishop, I win this pawn. If he takes, then I would take here, he would take here, and then I just take here. And this, again, we're getting really close to having a winning position. I kind of expected my opponent to see and define this move, and it is probably one of the top moves to see is bishop e6. Because of my response, Stockfish is not crazy about it, but it is kind of a tricky move. Things like coming in here, maybe being able to, if the rooks are gone, attacking these pawns from behind, keeping the bishop alive. He wants to keep as many pieces on the board. I played knight f8, which is a really good move, attacking the bishop. I'm forcing some kind of exchange of pieces. My opponent plays g5. This right here, after this, I take, and he took back with the king. The best move and the most logical is just takes here. And this pawn is a goners. So there's really no way to save it. Let's say the knight goes, actually, I guess it's actually black's move too. So knight goes here, check. Oh, wow, I could just come up there. I didn't actually see that. Stockfish saw that. I was trying to find a way to get down here, but you just come there, and that pawn is going to fall because this knight is guarding it. So yeah, I didn't. Okay, calm down. That should have played that. That was a lot easier, but hindsight's always 20/20. I didn't want any counterplay, so I ended up just moving my knight here, knowing that this bishop is probably going to have to move out of the way, and the rooks are going to get exchanged, and then I'm back in the driver's seat. My opponent plays here. Neither one of us saw what is the best move, which is bishop to g8. And now my knight's kind of paralyzed. I take, king takes, and now I'm forced to... It's just going to be very tough to get in here. I still think practically Black's going to win this game. But there was better chances. Plays bishop g4. I take, king takes. I go here. I'm threatening here. Check. He goes here. And then here, this was another practical position to play. I thought for a little bit of time. And I decided to play knight to d5. I'm forking the pawn and the knight. The knight should have moved here. Keep as many pieces on the board when you're down material. But my opponent takes, and now the game is pretty much over. I almost instinctively just moved my king to d6. Oh, sorry. He moved his king up to d3. I moved my king to d6. And then he goes here. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Got to protect these pawns, because if I push here, he takes here. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it's still winning for Black. You know what I was about to say. Not going to say it. Not going to say it. Okay, I can't help it. Take away counterplay. That's key. Stop. I won't say it again. So what do? I come back. I'm like, all right, let's chase around. He'd probably be fine with the repetition, but no. I play b6. Now, if I move my king and he comes down here, I can just simply move my pawn and we exchange things off. And I'm still up this pawn, and there's a lot of weaknesses in White's camp. So my opponent plays king d4, trying to attack my pawn. I play king d6. Now he attacks here, and at this point I check. I think to myself, I'm going to check the king, fork this pawn. I don't care if he takes this. These are doubled. It's not like he can make a pass pawn, and it's on a dark square. I feel good about that. And my opponent plays king e3. Props to him. He didn't want to go into this losing endgame. Is completely losing. I'm just going to waste moves back and forth until he runs out of moves. I'll probably play here, and then once he runs out of moves, I'm going to have direct opposition, and I'm going to be able to win this game easily. If you don't know how to win this kind of game, I would recommend set up this position on a board with your friend or against a computer and try it out. Watch some videos on king and pawn endgames, basic king and pawn endgames. They're fun to know. They actually are like, they're almost like a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a life hack. If you don't know these kind of king and pawn endgames, you should learn them, because they come up in your games all the time. But my opponent played king e3. I just gobbled his pawn. I said, you can have that pawn. I'll take this one. He then plays, let's see here. I played king e5. Then let's see, he played h4, attacking my knight. I played d4, check. He drops back. Oh, sorry, he dropped back to e2. I played knight e6, king f3. I played knight f4, bishop b5. At this point, I thought, oh, he missed that. I'm going to take here, and I'm going to win this pawn. Play bishop c4. Knight takes b4. Bishop g8. I push here. He goes here. I push. Takes. He can't go here, because then this pawn rolls, and if he tries to save it, I take the bishop. So things are just going from bad to worse at this position. It's pretty much lost. Plays on a few more moves. King f4, bishop to b1, g4, king f2, g3 check, king g2, d3, king f1. I played king f3, and Stockfish says mate in 8. I would probably turn that into mate in 28, but at this point my opponent resigns, and I thought to myself, hey, first game in almost a year over the board tournament with a win, so can't complain. The next round, I'm facing the strongest player in the quad, and I know that the round's going to start in like a few minutes after this game ended, and so I collected my thoughts. And the way the quad runs is your pairings are kind of already set at the beginning of the game, who you're going to play first round, second round, third round. So I knew who I was going to play the third round. But the tricky thing is it's drawing for colors. So you have to, they toss for the colors in the last round. I'm playing Arvind Agrawal, strong player in the next round, over 1900. And I'm thinking to myself, I really hope I get white. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I enjoyed recording it more than I thought I would. So if you enjoyed it, please let me know. Maybe leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all those things. If you dislike it, email me. Don't put just a dislike button, just email me. All right, we'll see you next time for round 2.